Welcome to 4x4 of the Year 2025. If you're new here, this is the trip where we put our top performing new cars from the last 12 months to the test. We test hundreds of cars each year and these are our top 6. This time round, we're starting at the Great Divide Tours 4x4 training facility, taking the long road to fill up in Cooma. These cars will be judged based on stock off-road ability, comfort, features, fuel economy, value for money, and more. Before we hit the bush, we're going to tackle 2 challenges back to back at the Great Divide 4-wheel drive training facility. First up is the Wombat Holes, testing flex and traction control capabilities. And second is hill climb capability on some gnarly controlled hill climbs. But before we get stuck in, let's see what cars we are testing over the next 3 days.
First up, we've got the Tank 300 from Great Wall Motors. All new Prado 250, the Ford Everest V6, Nissan Patrol Warrior, Ineos Grenadier, it's a Landcruiser 76. This one's got the 2.8 litre automatic transmission, all new driveline. Let's put it to the test.
Well, now we know what we're testing, let's get stuck into the competition.
That's without a traction control, always spot on. Tank needed its lockers to go through here. The Landcruiser 76, just its traction control system is so well calibrated. One of the cool off-road features of the Prado Altitude. It's the only one in the range with this feature. It's front sway bar disconnect. Gives you more axle articulation on the front end. Just perfect for crawling through offset potholes like this. Lets the car move, lets the axle articulate. We haven't got the rear locker in at all. It's just, once again, Toyota's electronic traction control doing a fantastic job.
As the judges kept testing the cars, there became a very clear wild horse in this test. It was lifting wheels and became extremely entertaining to watch and even caught some drivers off guard.
And I think for most people it's going to do everything they want until you get to the bottom and you're trying to get out of Palm Creek on the Telegraph track and someone's just chopped it up with a Unimog. That's where everything's going to be fine until it isn't.
Yeah, I think in low range, it's look, it's certainly the articulation something to get used to.
Everest is a bit lower than the other cars here. It does touch down coming through these melon holes, but just slightly. But yeah, put it in the right mode, bit of rear diff lock, walks through easy.
This is a pretty steep, rocky, scraggly hill in the Ford Everest. Look, I'm not expecting this to really be that tricky. This thing's got a rear diff lock, which on a hill climb is obviously very advantageous. Well, and of course, after that, because I said it, I ruined Christmas. We once again have got lots of wheels in the air. Gonna have to call it there, folks.
Doing tests at a place like Great Divide is great for the judges to be able to instantly feel the difference with each vehicle on the same obstacle. And as you can see, we got the Everest up.
Hell. Hey? Wonder what it weighs. I don't know, it doesn't feel a lot. Damn, that's good.
Alright, so we're doing the same hill. I didn't make it up in the Everest in the twin lock 76. and I'm expecting this to be a lot easier because front and rear lockers makes life about as good as it gets in a four-wheel drive situation. Bit of a wheel lift there, but no dramas whatsoever. I'm barely off idle, just crawling up.
So here we go. Hold on. Oh wow, too easy. It just absolutely walked up that. And I reckon that's the thing about the Patrol. It's kind of like, there's two ways you can look at it. It's a bit like a saltwater crocodile, you know, like it's been around forever. But as a result, just like a Salty, it's been refined and honed by evolution. So it's a really efficient, resolved together car that's benefited from over a decade of constant development. And the good news is, it's not going to try and eat you.
After our control testing was done, it was time to have some lunch, pack up our stuff, and hit the bush. Now that everyone's settled at camp, let's take a deep dive into what these cars really are about. First up, the Toyota Landcruiser 76. The Toyota Landcruiser 76 is a legend in the off-road world with years of evolution keeping it ahead of the pack. The Ford Everest Sport has been on Australian roads for 3 years, but it's still impressing us with its combination of ruggedness and comfort. The Ineos Grenadier Trailmaster has entered the 4x4 scene with a bang, delivering a robust off-road contender built on a traditional ladder frame chassis. The Nissan Patrol may be one of the oldest models here, but it never fails to put a smile on your face behind the wheel. The Toyota Prado Altitude brings fresh innovation with the 250 series, featuring a 48-volt mild hybrid engine for improved efficiency. The GWM Tank 300 makes its debut to the 4x4 of the year lineup, bringing something fresh from Grey Wall Motors. After having a quick look at all of our contenders, let's get back to camp and get ready for the next day ahead. Upon arriving to camp yesterday, we checked the river crossing to see if we could make it to the track that we needed to continue along to make it to Cooma. However, yesterday, the river was running high after a large amount of rain.
There you go, Matt.
So we got Matt in the water and we got the green light, so we sent the cars across. After tackling the river crossing, we were straight into it with a steep ascent, getting us kick-started into the bush for an awesome week away.
Yo.
How we going, mate? How do you like the Prado?
Yeah, pretty sophisticated. I'm still trying to work out all the switches, mate. But yeah, look, it drives really well. It's really capable. On that real scrambly bit back there,
Yep.
went up no problems at all.
Yeah, it's all going good here. We're going lots of American Bean Trail, lots of climbing and descending. Shows the car's working in low range and all that sort of stuff.
This thing's weird, right? Pretty uncomfy, but it's like really idiosyncratic. And I know the guys from Ineos are going to hate me saying this, but it's so similar to the old Defenders, where you're sort of sitting half out the window, and the dead pedal where the DPF runs is so intrusive, but at the same time, this thing's a beast off-road.
You bounce up and down on the side step.
Which side in particular?
No, just pick a side. During the hill climbs, we noticed a light ringing noise from the Ineos Grenadier, so the boys played around under the bonnet to figure out what it could be.
Yeah, I'd like me to have been it.
Well, it would have been touching on the sway bar, so...
We were later told from Ineos that it was a steering damper cover that was making the rattle. As the rain continued, the tracks turned into wet clay. And on one of our final ascents, we found ourselves with a crossed up 76 in a pretty compromised position. With minimal traction, the 76 tried to get over this obstacle with a bit of momentum, but hitting some ruts ended up shooting the 76 to the left and crossing it up with a little wheel in the air. But after a few attempts, we finally got it up. Once we got the 76 up, it was game on. We knew we could get everyone up, even if we had to snatch them. So one by one, they tried to tackle the hill. The Grenadier found itself in the bushes first time round, trying to stay far away from the ruts. But second time, easy peasy. The Prado made light work of this obstacle with a bit of right boot and both lockers on. The Everest, lacking traction control ability, needed a bit more momentum, but we got it up. The Tank 300, I think this clip explains itself.
Nissan up there. Up. Yeah. How's he going to get up? Well, he'll go back.
With the roar of the V8 up the mountain and a snatch to the tank, it was time to get to camp and review the day.
Good drive today, fellas.
I'm pretty pleased it stopped raining when it did.
Yeah.
Those steep hills
Could have got slippery.
would have got real slippery.
Real fast too.
One of them did.
One of them did.
Any cars you think underperformed?
Well, as the only bloke that got stuck, the GWM just on that steep slippery hill, it just ran out of steam. And I think it's because of the calibration of the gearbox.
Because the traction control works on it pretty well.
Yep, traction control and the lockers are great on it, all that sort of stuff. And the low speed off-road stuff we did was fantastic, but when you needed some power.
The Nissan danced up that hill. I actually had a snooze on the way up.
What else? I mean, I'm trying to think.
What about the Ineos?
The Ineos is just,
Yeah,
it's a beast, isn't it?
it is, yeah.
You know, you lock everything up and it just goes. But then so does the 76.
This is probably the best 76 for quite a while.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to
It's
follow.
a controversial thing to say, I reckon, but
I'm with you.
it's really good. The Prado, it's almost like an unsung hero.
Yeah.
It just does everything. It's Prados have always done. This one just does it better.
No, and I reckon the problem you're going to have is deciding. Do you want a 76 or do you want a Prado, which is probably nearly as good, if not as good, but is better to use day to day? And that's where the Everest comes back into it, I reckon.
Everest, Patrol, Prado,
Yep.
they're all dual purpose vehicles.
Yep, for sure.
We'll get back to town tomorrow, fill them up, see how they all went on fuel, punch the numbers in, and see what we come up with. The four-wheel drive of the year testing for 2025 threw up a great bunch of vehicles and we had a good time out there testing them. But we're back in town now. We've had a chance to go through all the specs, look at everyone's scores. The judges gave us their opinions. And at the end of it, we got two cars that scored exactly the same. And you wouldn't believe it, they're both from the same manufacturer, but they both do their jobs very differently. This is a family favourite, gets everything done, it's got all the latest safety equipment, all the stuff you want for driving around town, but it's also pretty good in the bush. All the latest updates which you expected on a new four-wheel drive car. Whereas the 76 series, it's the old faithful, basic, rugged, tough. It does the same thing, but it does it without all those bells and whistles. But it's a perfect blank canvas to build your vehicle out of. When you look at the price difference between these two cars, it's like 15 grand. So that's a lot of accessories for your 76 if that's what you're after. Whereas the Prado Altitude, it's all there straight away. If you want the in-depth look at this and see the scores and what the judges said about each of the cars on the test, have a look at 4x4 Australia magazine, April edition. It's on sale now.